As we begin to wrap up Season of the Splicer, we were met with a hefty twab today. I purposely didn't finish this write-up due to fear of changes being outlined today. However, twab preview of weapon changes had no auto rifle changes. Huzzah! The biggest change is that primary weapons are now going to have infinite ammo. Special ammo and heavy ammo has a higher chance to spawn after a kill with a primary weapon, and even more with an exotic primary, which might shake things up next season. So Season 15 is looming, and Bungie's given us the list of champion mods so we can start prepping early. As of the moment, it looks like auto rifles are the only mod for stunning barrier champions. As of right now, the only exotics that can intrinsically pierce barrier champs are Ariana's Vow and the Lament. There is a future update coming that makes Arbalest also carry anti-barrier. Currently, the list of weapons is extremely low. I think Bungie may give us a new exotic in Season 15 that also carries barrier, pierce, or a new exotic auto. There are quite a few legendary autos available at the moment, and also a few we know coming in Season 15. Today, I hope to help you choose your rifle of choice for the coming season. Hi, my name is Asthenia, and I play way too much Destiny. If you want to skip any section, the sections will be timestamped, as this is going to be quite a long video with a lot of information. Before we get into this, the main reason I've made this video was to help my friends who are playing on controller, because the recoil can vary for controller to keyboard and mouse. So firstly, we have to understand the recoil direction stat. So from 1 to 100, as we go up in recoil, our recoil at 5 points is as mid. So we want to keep our recoil at 5. For example, 15, 25, 35, 45, etc. all the way to 100. As you can see by this graph, once we reach 100, that's the minimal bounce it's going to do. So that's kind of where we want to be at most, is vertical recoil as we can and as little bounce as possible. Auto rifles or bullet hoses, workhorses, whatever you want to call them, rifle class weapons have always been a nice balance between being able to lay down a constant stream of bullets with moderate to close range effect. In Destiny, auto rifles get broken down into the following 4 archetypes. High impact frames. They're 360 RPM, slow firing, and high damage. This weapon is more accurate when you are stationary and you aim down at sights. Precision frames, which are 450 RPM. Weapon recoil is more predictable when firing, and it's more predictably vertical. Adaptive frames. These are 600 RPM, well-rounded grip, sturdy, and they're reliable. Last but not least, we have rapid fire frames, 720 RPM, deeper ammo reserves, and they slightly have a faster reload when the magazine is empty. These are the 4 frames we have. Now, weapons-based damage is determined by its frame. Let's look at where our frames are sitting in regards to each other with damage and stats. All this information from damage comes from IMA Dragon AMAA on Reddit as one of the most up-to-date spreadsheets for damage. I'll link it in the description below. I've also included what base stats range from across the available weapons. So for our high impact frames, they have an average DPS of 3,361 with a base magazine of 32. Precision frames have an average DPS of 3,369 with a base magazine of 32. Adaptive frames have an average DPS of 3,555 with a base magazine of 43. And lastly, rapid fires have an average DPS of 3,906 with a base magazine of 51. So now that we've thrown all these numbers at you, let's actually give the information you need to know. So as you can see, our frames differ in stats across the board, not too much. And honestly, there's not too much variation between them all. The chunky boy at the 360 RPM, it's the least represented archetype right now. They have a minimum distance of around 35 meters and a max of just shy of 41 meters. These are the furthest hitting autos you can get. Sadly, the trade-off is extremely low stability and low magazines. Precision frames have a little bit less range with a minimum distance of around 26 meters and a max of 37. You gain some distance and stability at the cost of handling, reload, aim assist, and magazine size. Adaptive frames have it a bit better, starting off with the minimum reach of about 23 meters, capping out at 30 with full range investment. Adapters have it really good. They've been a popular choice for quite some time now. Powerful perks and good stats. Gnawing Hunger comes to mind. You lose a bit of DPS and also some magazine capacity, but again, it gained very high handling and base reload. Last but not least, we have the rapid fire frames. These kind of have the highest DPSs and the highest magazine, but they're severely lacking in range, only reaching around 26 meters at max with the full range perks and 21 meters with none. Now that we've given you a brief idea of the stats and where the guns sit, we'll move on to the recoil and breakdown of these weapons. Now, this isn't going to be a full coverage of every single auto and every single perk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk briefly while I show you the recoil of the weapon versus controller and a keyboard and mouse. And we're also going to talk about kind of the roles that I think are best personally for each weapon. Now, these are aimed at high-end PvE players. And what that means is that these are for GMs and things like that. We don't really lower activities and all that. You can use them and nearly any combination of perks. Even in GMs, you can use really any combination of perks. But these are the ones that I think will get you the furthest use out of them. All right. So the age-old Bond. This is a void high-impact rifle that drops from the Last Wish raid. It has a curated version, which will be the one we are testing today. There's a standard recoil direction of 79, which pulls slightly right. Age-old Bond comes with a monstrous 84 in range, standard, which allows us to hit a minimum range of 29 meters with 0 range perks, and a max of 32 meters at 100 range. Age-old Bond has a very small, generous perk pool with Kill Clip, High Impact Reserves, Ambitious Assassin, and Dragonfly in the last column. Column 3, we have mainly perks that help stability with dynamic sway reduction, Tap the Trigger, Zen Moment, and Triple Tap. The curated version, which drops fully range masterwork, has 4th times the charm and Rampage. You cannot get these perks on any other role of this gun, only the curated. My recommended role is either the curated role or Arrowhead Break, High Caliber Rounds, Triple Tap, and High Impact Reserves or Kill Clip. False Promises is a kinetic high impact rifle with a nearly vertical recoil direction of 86. False Promises came to us in Season of Arrivals and is now a Whirlpool weapon. Has a slightly higher zoom, which allows it to hit 35 meters at a base 75 range and 40 meters at max investment. It has a fairly large perk pool with a good mix of PvE and PvP perks. I recommend a roll with Corkscrew Rifling, High Caliber Rounds or Appended Mag, Overflow and Swashbuckler or Rampage. The Braytech Werewolf. Now this gun can be acquired during Festival of the Lost in October, which is kind of like the Destiny's Halloween event. If you have received one before, you can pull the curated roll from your collections at any time. The Werewolf hits a base of 27 meters and a max of 32 at full investment and has a recoil direction of 74. The perk pool is rather lackluster, but contains a few good options still. I recommend a roll of Fluted Barrel, High Caliber Rounds or Appended Mag, 4th times the charm and Vorpal/Swashbuckler. 4th time the charm is a great perk for GMs as it allows you to hose down a barrier and get bullets as long as you're hitting it in its precision shot area. The number has a base reach of 31 meters thanks to its high zoom and can hit a max of 37 meters. It has a recoil direction of 70 and the perk pool is very full. Thankfully, it does have a great perk for GMs, One for All. One for All is one of my favorite perks in the game right now. It's a 35% damage boost for 10 seconds when you hit 3 separate targets within 3 seconds of each other. It is very good because in GMs, things have a lot of health and you'll be hitting a lot of enemies and have this up a lot. My recommended roll is Arrowhead Break, High Caliber Rounds, or Appended Mag, Field Prep, and One for All. Now we move on to Shadow Price. This rifle is one of the best in the game currently due to its very strong perk pool and ability to receive an adept version for Grandmaster Nightfall clears. An adept weapon can take adept mods and when fully masterworked it does gain some bonus stats. It gains 2 to 3 to all the other stats. Shadow Price has a base range of 27 meters and a max of 32 with a recoil direction of 79. The last perk column contains 3 worthwhile perks. One for All, Swashbuckler, and Disruption Break. When you break an enemy shield with Disruption Break, it takes 50% more damage from kinetic weapons for a short duration. This sadly does not include Witherhoard. This perk does work on barrier champions, however, making it a fantastic choice for GMs to help conserve ammo. It works very well with Izanagi's Burden. You can just take that barrier shield down. If you get that last hit, boom, it's susceptible to more damage. Izzy will delete it. My recommended role for this one is Arrowhead Break or Chambered Compensator, Tac Mag, Overflow, and Disruption Break. For lower end activities or for an alternative, you can also use One for All in the last column or Swashbuckler. Like the Werewolf, the Horror Story is a Festival of the Lost weapon. A curated role can be pulled from the collections, just like Werewolf if you already own one. Horror Story is one of the worst off rifles in this category, with a recoil direction of 73, a minimum range of 26, and a max of 42 meters. It is one of the furthest hitting precision rifles, but sadly, the perks just aren't great on it. I recommend either the curated role because it comes with Rampage and not too bad other perks, or a role of a Rifle Scope ST, Tac Mag, Firmly Planted, or Killing Wind, and Demolitionist. Demolitionist is a fantastic perk. On each kill, it gives you a bit of energy for your grenade ability, and also if you throw your grenade, you will fill your magazine up completely. This works particularly well on things like machine guns, auto rifles, anything with high amount of bullets in it. Tiger Spite is one of the reissued Dreaming City weapons. Sadly, a lot of its perks have been retired. However, it does have access to quite a number of decent perks still. My recommended role is Arrowhead Break, High Caliber Rounds, or Appended Mag, Overflow and Frenzy, or Swashbuckler. The 7 Seraph Carbine is the only auto capable of making Warmind cells intrinsically. Even though Warmind cells are seeing a heavy nerf next season, they will still be quite viable. I recommend Arrowhead Break, High Caliber or Appended Mag, 4th times the Charm, Vorpal, Swashbuckler, or Rampage. The Forward Path is an Iron Banner auto with a minimum range 24 meters, a recoil direction of 60 and a max of 40 meters. Recoil on this bad boy is quite bad. Sadly, we only have scopes, so we can't really make it too much better. I recommend a roll of Rifle Scope, ST, Tac Mag, 4th time the Charm, and Swashbuckler. The Summoner is a Trials of Osiris weapon. It's not currently in the pool, but like I have sold before it, it should be back next season. With a base range of 23 meters, a recoil direction of 57, and a max range of 26 meters, this solo auto rifle can roll mostly good PvP perks, but it also does have a few good PvE options, as well as having an adept version with better stats and masterwork and adept mod slot. I recommend Arrowhead Break, High Caliber Rounds, or Appended Mag, Overflow, and Rampage. Gnawing Hunger. It's one of the best received weapons in the game. Great stats, a recoil direction of 54, base range of 24 meters, and a max of 30. Gnawing Hunger has some of the best perk options in the game. It's quite hard to get a non-serviceable role because of its small, good perk pool. I recommend Small Bore, Extended Mag, Autoloading, and Demolitionist. Now, autoloading may seem a really odd choice on an auto rifle, but because it has already such a high base reload, we can afford to cut it down with Extended Mag. There are so many amazing autoloading weapons in the game right now. I often pair mine with Witherhoard and an auto-loading rocket such as He's and Vengeance. Demo gives you grenade energy per kill, and it fills that mag back when you throw your nade. It works extremely well on this rifle. Give it a go. Arc Logic is one of the returning weapons that got reissued from the moon. It's farmable from the lectern on the moon. It comes with a recoil direction of 47, base range of 23 meters, and a max of 28. Perk pool is quite limited, sadly. What I recommend is Small Bore, Appended Mag, Heating Up, and Frenzy/Wellspring. Frenzy is one of the better damage perks in the game, as you only need to be in combat for it to activate. It's very easy to have up nearly constantly in GMs. Scathlocke. Another gun from year 1 that will return next season. It has a base range of 24 meters and a max of 34. We don't know the perks that were returning on this weapon because it had a static roll in year 1, but I figured I'd show off its recoil pattern anyway. It's Quite a nice looking weapon too. Move on to the rapid fire frames. These guns are probably my favorite autos in the game right now. Chroma Rush is everything an auto should be. Great stats, great perks, fantastic recoil. It's got a vertical recoil direction of 45, base 21 meters range, and a max of 26. Range is definitely the only thing lacking on the Chroma Rush. I recommend hammer forged rifling, pendant mag, heating up, and rampage. Reckless Oracle is Chroma's void cousin. Awful base direction of 59, a minimum of 21 meters reach and a max of 25. This one drops from the Garden of Salvation raid. And as much as Chrome is just better, I do love the Reckless Oracle. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. Maybe not so much the way it feels. I recommend a roll of Arrowhead, High Caliber, Outlaw, and Kill Clip on this one. Artic Haze is farmable from Varix on Europa. This auto has a recoil direction of 42, a minimum range of 21 meters, and a max of 26. Artic Haze does have one roll in particular that I think is really decent for gems. That is Small Ball, Appended Mag, Triple Tap, and Vorpal. This roll is great at taking on barrier champs in that mid-range. Triple Tap is a very good perk. Same with Fourth Time the Charm. If you score those 3 shots in a row, you get a bullet back. Not so great on autos, but just think about it. You've got a lot of bullets in that. So you're going to be hitting, if you're hitting your headshots constantly, you're just going to be getting bullets back. Sadly, it doesn't have really many other options in there. So that's the one I've chosen for that. Now, sadly, I do not have the range stats for any of the exotic weapons or anything like that. I have not tested range. However, I have taken nearly every single one of these exotic autos into GMs. And let me tell you, they work quite well. Both Suros and Cerberus, I think, had the best overall. Suros in the dual speed receiving mode in the 360 RPM fire can hit really hard, really stably, especially if you've got the catalyst. And it's very nice. Cerberus is the one that surprised me most of all. I wouldn't really use it too much in shotgun mode, but in AR mode, this thing's a monster. With infinite ammo, you're going to be able to spam this a lot. Same with Hardlight. Hardlight is probably the best of the exotic autos. The ability to switch energy type on the fly is a big boon. The ricochet rounds are very powerful, and with infinite ammo next season, you're going to be able to just spam this at your enemies around corners. It's going to be very decent. Sweet Business also surprised me. It had a lot of range. It didn't feel like it should have a lot of range, but this thing was nailing things at ranges I didn't think was possible. Overall, I really recommend having a go at some of these rifles. The best rifle in the game, I think, right now, legendary-wise, is definitely Shadow Price due to its pool and its ability for adept weapons. Gnawing Hunger is another one of the great rifles right now. I think that people should give the high impacts a go as well in GMs. They don't feel as good as the others, but they can hit some pretty nice range. And if you can get a number with 1 for all, you can do some damage. Also, don't forget the difference between a kinetic and an energy weapon. A kinetic weapon does 5% more damage than an energy base. So if you have 2 same frame weapons, for example, Chroma Rush and Reckless Oracle, then they will do the same damage, bar 5% difference. So Chroma Rush being kinetic will do 5% more than Reckless Oracle. This is the case for all energy weapons in the mid slot. So we are coming to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I've put a lot into this video. It's the first kind of that I've done ever like this. And I really hope it helped you out there or help someone. If it did, give me a like, maybe even subscribe. It would help me out immensely on my new channel. I play Destiny nearly every day, and I also stream at twitch.tv/asthenia. Hope to see you there. See you next time.